Yeah, this is me, Amule John Moses, as the host for the AOFC podcast today. Today we have a very passionate African here, moreover a Ugandan, a Lubara from Arua City. Okay, we have ONDUMA Sabit, the president of UCU, Kampala Law Society, and also a very remarkable debater, a motor, a very young and passionate advocate for the legal things in our society or our country, Uganda. So today we shall be speaking about a very interesting topic and a team called Youth Voices in Shaping Africa's Future. So let's get into the details. Now, Sabit, me have already gone far to introduce you. There are these people who will be knowing you for the first time. So who is Onuma Sabit?
Thank you so much, first of all, the host for today's series.
Mhm.
Uh, I am so glad. I'm very happy to be here. And again, I'm so proud. My name is ONDUMA Sabit. For people who haven't actually gotten to know about me, I am a law student at Uganda Christian University, Kampala campus, and I'm also the Law Society president. For the law students that side, the same university, I happen to moot in that very university as well. I'm a debater. I won awards in the district, regionals, actually also
Nationals.
nationals. It was really an amazing. I went through a series. I am also a leader by nature, I think, because my O level, A level, up to where I am right now proves to be something thrilling about a leadership.
Yeah.
Because the last time I checked, I was first of all the assistant HP at St. Saul's Luang. That was in my form three. I became the UNSA president. In that very school that is in A level, I ran the Muslim students at the district level, that very district that is Koboko. And I represented as the UNSA speaker, district level, that very school as well in the district. And later on, it took my leadership to university, and that's where I am right now. As the president, that is for you who is actually getting to know me for the first time. I'm passionate about speech. I love to help people. That is by nature. And I speak out for those who most times don't actually speak for themselves.
Yeah.
I believe that's what spoke for me in Uganda Christian University. I believe that's why they elected me. And I believe that's why I'm able to today share my views with you people
Yeah, sure.
today. I think that is small about me, Sabit.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Welcome to the AWS podcast.
Thank you so
So
much.
now, like today's topic is all about youth voices in shaping Africa's future. So the first time we invited you for this, what did you think about? What was the first thing that came into your mind when you hear about the voices of rising youth in Africa?
Uh, when you invited me and gave me the theme, I was like, wow, this is very interesting. Why? Because today's world is about the youth.
Yeah,
The youth oftentimes see themselves as the reflection in the old. And when you gave me the topic, I was like, I think this is an adventurous time to venture into actually what the youth are supposed to do today. And I thought it right to, first of all, just come up and talk about what the youth are supposed to do, how important their voices are today, and what they can do that they actually underestimate. In today's world, by and large, they're very important.
yeah,
So
sure.
we ought to, give regards to youth. Let's not even go very far away. Uganda, we are 75%. The youth are doing a lot, so their voices matter. They matter so much. If they take it serious, then a lot can happen in this world that we actually want. That is what I thought about.
Okay, let me interrupt you a bit.
Mm.
For example, you're in the locality. You said 75% of Ugandans are actually youth. So do you think like in your legal framework, let me say you've been into legal cases and so on. So do you think the youths have been given a higher opportunity to actually have their voices are their voices being heard by the government or even their local authorities around? Do you think much attention has been given to the youth, or most of them have been just given to find out their way?
Oh, a very interesting question. I would answer that shortly and briefly. To a lesser extent,
Mm,
the voices of the youth are being heard to a lesser extent. Why do I say this? Uh, if you consider just Uganda
mm,
before even leaving out our country and going to Africa wide and all that, consider 5 years back, we did not have many incentives that brought on board the youth.
Yeah, sure.
We didn't have most of them. Today, the government is trying something to actually, include the youth. There is the inclusion. Not very many youth are vying for different positions now. The NRM has brought things, and I think the government is trying to create areas to ensure that the youth are included. But I don't think it's really having impact, because most of this is actually being done to create a leeway for a person who is already in power to actually be in power. What they do right now is they're involving the youth to stay in power, and the youth are not actually seeing that. If they use the positions that have been given rightly to actually advocate for changes that they want, then that's when we can say their voices are being heard.
Yeah,
They
sure.
shouldn't really be used by the people who want to stay there.
Yeah.
They should be given real platforms that matter, so that their voices are heard, so that they're brought onto table and they discuss matters. I believe they're very brilliant. I'm impressed by very many leaders who are youth currently in the world. In fact, we're talking about Africa. See what Ibrahim Traore is doing for Burkina Faso. It is so really very, very amazing.
Yeah, sure.
And one of the most interesting leaders currently that we had at an earlier age was actually a youth, 27 years. The head of state in San, there is I think a country in Atlantic,
Yeah.
those ends. 27 years he was already a head of state. So those are very interesting things. If they're given real platforms, then they can cause change. But by and large, their voices are really being, they're being brought on board to use them. So it's really not a by and large a platform to say that the youth actually been given, because their voices are really not being heard.
So now,
They're just
Sabit,
being brought on.
let me interrupt you a bit. If you have been given the chance to become the president of Uganda at the moment, what will have been that thing you will have done for the youth? Because you're now talking about the youth, and I love your reasoning. And so, assuming that chance is given to you at the moment, what will you have done for the youth?
Well, the youth currently, as I said when I was just introducing, 75%.
Yeah.
If power belongs to people, like the Constitution is saying in Article 1, then I believe everything that a leader should be doing right now should actually favor the youth, because they have the power to put you there. They have the power to remove you. They have the power to cause change. So if I am given this chance to become the president of Uganda, I'll do very many things for the youth. First of all, uh, if you consider the literacy rate in Uganda, it is so high. The
Yeah.
unemployment, who are actually suffering? The youth. You see, the jobs, people who already are in these jobs want to stay there. They cannot even live. Currently, you go to any place where people work,
Yeah.
and see the rate of old men who are there and who still want to be there. It is very alarming. People can never leave. So what I can do right now is, when I'm given the chance, just like you asked, I create very many opportunities to ensure that the youth are equipped with skills to make their own money, because our old people can never leave the
Sure.
positions that they have. I mean, we have a president who right now should even be 98. I don't know. He cannot leave. Not only the president, go to other places currently we have. The hospitals. You find doctors who are above 76, and we keep them because of their expertise. It's okay, but that doesn't mean we should we cannot engage people who are actually very brilliant in mind, who are very young. Those are people who actually, the Gen Z, I mean,
Yeah, the Gen Zs.
they create a lot of change
Yeah.
and impact. So I will create opportunities, various opportunities to equip the youth, so that they can actually benefit from what they deserve.
So now, do you believe in the saying that the youth are the future leaders of tomorrow?
I don't really believe in that saying,
Why? Why so?
because they should be the leaders today.
Today.
That is what I am saying. They should. I mean, in Arua, Dangote should be giving you that example. You see, his primaries really moved me. I was very impressed. That is the reason why I'm saying the youth can do a lot.
Yeah.
Imagine they turn up like that in such numbers to create change. What can actually happen? A lot can happen. He came. People are doing a lot of things outside there, by the way. The youth go to these various institutions, government institutions, private, follow the guild elections that happen every year, and see the elections attract public, demand. The government intervenes. It becomes a thing in East Africa.
Yeah.
Take the elections of Shamim. Was he the 86th guild president of Makerere University? Check what Dangote did in Makerere. The elections brought, attention the whole of East Africa. That means the youth can actually do things that we do not, you see. So there should be leaders today. We shouldn't wait for them
For
to
tomorrow.
become old so that we give them the platforms they deserve.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in that saying. There should be leaders today. That is what the youth should actually be right
So,
now.
so thank you for that on view. Now, as being the president of Law Society, what are some of the changes, or what are some of the things you have literally done in the university level to promote the voices of the youth?
Uh, Thank you so much. That is very impressive. The question I mean, when I was brought in as the Law Society president
Yeah,
at my university, there are very many things that we had that I wanted to change. I am still the president and I'm still hoping to actually change more.
sure.
I've been one semester in office. I mean, first of all, what I saw as challenge in that university was the fact that the students, we have a constitution that guarantees and says it should only be the Christian denomination that
Yeah,
actually vies for the guild president
Muslims.
of the university.
And then you are
And
here, Muslim.
yeah, by a person who is actually a Muslim cannot. And those are very terrific and archaic, policies that ought to be changed. I advocate for such policies, and I say, you know what, the voices of the minority should be heard, and that is my next move. If I can create that change,
So
then it will
now,
be very big. Besides that, I think there are very many other things. I'm creating opportunities.
hmm,
I am partnering with very many law firms to ensure that the students can actually, fish out the jobs that they're going to get in the future.
yeah,
Oh, that
sure.
is my role as the president. And there are very many things that I would really discuss right now if it was a topic of essence. But the best thing that we can do right now is advocate for the people and create opportunities.
Hmm.
Advocacy and opportunity should be the best thing that we can do as a leader for any other person.
So now I've gone through your biography and I've realized that throughout your life, you've either been the best debater. In fact, the first time I saw you was during a debate. It was a regional debates, and so you were amongst the best speakers. In fact, you were the best speaker by then. So how do you think like debates can promote African voices in the society we stay in? You have performed, actually, have participated excellently in nationals, regionals, and many other competitions. So, how do you think, or is there a way that debating can really promote young African voices to the
Yeah,
world?
yeah, yeah. I believe today the power of speech shouldn't be underestimated.
Mm.
I mean, I read history a lot, and if you read history, very many historians who talked about the world wars will tell you that World War One wouldn't have happened if people used the power of speech very right. And debate promotes that. It
Okay.
brings the best out of you. You see, I mean, if there's a platform where people can really learn how to speak, then issues can be sorted amicably. We do not have to go to the police. We
Yeah.
don't have to, first of all, beat someone. Like we don't have to rally mobs like what our local governments are doing currently in Arua to ensure that certain people are gotten out and they're being beaten. We don't have to do those things.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
they're crazy. We could just, use speech, which is actually promoted by debates, speech which is, learned. I believe it starts from home. If you do not speak very well at home, you might not actually do it very right. I would say there. So I mean, it's very important. Debate is absolutely everybody needs that. I was so shocked when I was staying with a friend in Kampala, and a child, very very small like this, shocked me by the language that they were actually using with the mom. I was like, okay, this is very brilliant. If all our Lubaras would express themselves at an early age like that, then I doubt we'll be having problems in the future with our leaders.
Yeah, yeah,
We,
yeah,
we
sure.
will not be having leaders that will disappoint us in the parliament and they go there to just sit and sleep.
Sleep.
We wouldn't be having those ones.
So, okay, you said you're a very good history reader. So, according to history, why did you start loving history, and who was your best speech giver actually according to history? Because I've come across historians like the likes of Martin Luther, the Malcolm X. These guys were excellent in speech. Actually, they provoked something by the way they spoke. So, who were those guys who really inspired you to start this journey of public speaking?
Oh, interesting. I'm an African,
Mm,
and I read a lot of literature of Martin Luther, Marcus Garvey.
mm,
But the person who really, gave me purpose of life as an African was Web Du Bois.
Mm.
People call him Web Du Bois. That guy is very, very, important. His voices in Africa were so extreme and so direct. His sayings actually very good. One of the sayings that he put across that inspired me in history was about actually racism. When we are analyzing the race theory,
Mm.
you can't actually, fail to talk about Web Du Bois. He said an African sees himself in the reflection of the white. So you become better when you think you achieve something that a white man actually achieves, which is very terrible. He said an African is like a seventh son.
Mm.
Apart from after the Indies, the whites, all those people, which is very terrible, and that ought to change. And that resonated with me. And I say, you know what? If all people just reason like Web Du Bois, then the world would be a very good place for all of us,
So
Africans included.
recently I watched a documentary by PLO Mumumba. So this guy said something that when an African president is sworn in power, most times they don't value it when a fellow African tells them, Your Excellency, you are welcome into power. But instead, they wait for Europeans. Let me say, maybe the Prime Minister of UK calls them and tells, Hey, sir, you're most welcome on power. We approve you, and so on. Now, these African leaders, they have a mentality within them that they need to get an approval from abroad. You get it? So, what do you think about such cases?
I believe that's why we need leaders like Ibrahim Traore
Mm.
who go against the white dominancy. You see, who come publicly and say, you know what, we should actually, recognize ourselves as Africans, and we should have that belief that we can actually do a lot on our own.
Yeah, sure.
He's chasing very many medias outside, chasing the oil companies, chasing every other person, and he's doing an amazing job. Now, the presidents that we have in Africa, most of them, of course, are. I don't want to, say it's because the people just. Okay, I don't want to say Africa has very bad presidents,
Yeah, sure.
because by the fact that someone is already there, they should be having qualities. But people are just selfish, basically. Because the reason why you do not, want to resonate with a fellow African approving, you can only be one, that you want favors outside, which favors most times favor you individually. Your country comes second. You see, if you cannot believe that you can actually do a lot on your own, then you need someone to help you.
Mm.
And that someone is always the white man, which is very terrible. That is the challenge we have right now.
Yeah.
So I believe what Professor said is actually very right. But we're having African presidents who are currently doing a lot of work on their own. Come here, Mama Tanzania is doing something very interesting for us, and those are the examples our leaders here in Uganda should actually be copying. I'm not mentioning names.
Sure.
They should be
So
really
security
copying.
reasons.
Exactly. But we cannot just be, succumbing ourselves to the life outside, and we think that is where that's why Web Du Bois say we should stop the reflection that we see in the white man, and we think it is something that can only, be best for us.
Mm.
I doubt that is a good reasoning for all African leaders. So
Yeah.
it's not.
So recently, I came across a video of you going viral on TikTok about the issue of corruption. You talked something about the issue of corruption in our hospital, and it caught my attention. You spoke about the aspect of doctors sending patients to go and buy medicines from their fellow clinics. Like, what happened that triggered you to give such, actually, to record that video?
Okay, that was actually one of my most emotional videos I've ever sent in
Mm.
public. I don't normally come emotional like that to speak out
Yeah.
to the public. But what triggered me was experience. You see, you learn best from experience. That's what
Mm.
they say. I've ever been to a hospital. Very many friends of mine have been to a hospital.
Yeah, sure.
Very, very many people. And I've been to the labor ward that side. I know what really happens that side there. And the experience alone teaches me a lot. When I recorded the video, people came rushing out to me and say, you know what, you've actually spoken the right. Although there were a few critics saying, you know what, that is not true, what, and all that. But people are just not, seeing what the researchers are, the researchers have been publishing online. If you cannot read those things, if you cannot actually go to a hospital and get, to experience such things, then you
Mm.
cannot. I went to a hospital. I was so perturbed when a woman who was about to actually deliver was still rushing outside, was still being talked to outside by a certain other woman and said they need some money for something before she can actually be taken. What kind of bogus? It was so bogus. You cannot do those things. You see, that was first of all very bad. Secondly, we donate blood, a lot of blood. You go that I had that auntie who was actually in the hospital, and the procedure alone to get that blood, trust me, very hectic. And along the process, money is being asked for blood that is supposed to be free. Another experience that triggered me. Thirdly, people go for operations and they still need money.
Yeah.
2009 was an experience that happened here where a doctor was remanded to Louisiana prison for having, asked 200,000 to perform an operation on an infant. What kind of those things happened? They really happened. You see, but if you cannot go and read them, you think people are just speaking things actually they do not know. We speak from things that we've read, we speak from things that we've experienced, and it's very bad. It ought to change. Those are the things that triggered me to speak out about Arrow Hospital and the very many frauds that actually happened there. More than that.
So I remember you talked about the aspect of doctors sending this and that. So what could be the reason for such persistency in such, can I call it evil doings?
Okay. There are very many reasons that people would, not have to engage themselves in corruption tendencies. First of all, I would say maybe they just don't appreciate the fact that the money that the government is giving them is
Not
enough.
enough.
But they don't appreciate that. Secondly, people just we have lack of transparency and accountability. In it happens a lot. The government is doing very many things using the anti-corruption body, to fight corruption. I debated anti-corruption my whole life in high school and in secondary, and we explored all the loopholes. The transparency that we have is totally not enough,
Yeah.
and people abuse the rules to ensure that it favors them. That is another reason why people do that. Thirdly, I would say there is bad influence. You see, bad influence. Last time we saw people stealing, even you must have come across the ambulance saga that happened.
Yeah.
So surprising, a doctor was also involved, not only the driver. You see, and the result, the testimony that was given in court showed that the arrangement was made by a doctor and the drivers to sell it to a certain person who was actually in Congo. We have very bad policies that can actually regulate and ensure that we can keep our property safe, and the government ought to do more. Maybe another thing that we have that is causing all this is the fact that the health sector is not given enough of attention what is required by the government. I mean, the government has tried. I'm not disputing that fact, but we can't also run away from the fact that it is not enough. It will always not be enough if it is not given serious attention. So there are very many factors. I believe this factor shouldn't really make someone to go ahead and still, deprive people of what they're supposed to benefit from. I mean, those are drugs to save lives. Stealing them away from the hospital makes you kill a life. Some other person would benefit from that. I mean, why do you really? It's crazy. It's very crazy. A lot of requirements get missing from the hospital. We talked about the X-rays that went missing, and the people were remanded to lose their prison still again. These things are all happening at our hospital, by the way. So our hospital is a scam. It's really a scam, and I'll say this publicly. A lot of attention has to be given to it. And a report published by iMedia recently saw that we actually at our hospital is top in regards to corruption tendencies. So we ought to speak widely with the youth about it. I believe that's why our voices matter today.
Yeah.
That's
So, by the way, speaking against corruption is not something very easy in this society of ours today. What gave you the courage to record a bold video and speak against such a tendency in Uganda?
When I recorded that video, before even I sent it out, I sent it to my sister, and she was like, "But Sabit, do you really want to publish this?" I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? I have to do this. People really have to know the truth of what is really happening, and I'm going to actually do more." What gave me the audacity is the fact that people sit down and yet they know what is actually happening in the communities. You cannot just be sitting down on things that are very wrong. I can never sit down on things which are very wrong. From high school up to where I am right now, I will point it out that this is very bad. I've ever told the lecturer, you know what you're doing is actually very, very bad. We don't, it's not supposed to be like this. I mean, you're coming here, you're teaching us things which are not very right. Not because I am smart, because this lecturer, it is so clear he comes to class without even doing research, without even reading. I will tell you the truth. That's why people would be with me. People who actually stand for the truth would be with me in the university. So those are some of the lessons we should learn right now. You should learn, I should learn, people should learn that we can only speak out the fact for people who cannot speak for themselves.
Yeah,
That is
sure.
what gave me the audacity.
So now, Sabit, if I may go further, see, you spoke about actually the whole corruption tendency in the health sector. What is has it greatly affected the, let me say, the peasant people, the majority poor?
Corruption's impacts are very great.
Mm,
We can never underestimate them. Why am I saying they're very great? First of all, uh, when somebody steals something that is meant for the public,
mm,
there are very many people who might not, you know. I mean, when you go to the villages, the life that we live that side, I come from Madiokolo, those ends. And trust me, people are very, 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 people are suffering. I mean, the rate at which people are suffering, people can only benefit from what the government gives them.
mm.
So if people take them away, it affects them greatly. It might not only be in the health sector. We saw what happened. The Mabat is meant for people in Karamoja. We have been very many big fish were involved, including the speakers that we had.
Yeah,
So
sure.
those are crazy things, and the impact will definitely be great.
Yeah.
That is it.
So now, about the issue of young Africans who are raising their voices out into the world. So what will you tell those young Africans who are quiet or who don't want to speak out against things that are making them suffer?
If you are a young African, you're listening to me right now, what I can advise you and advise us to do is that we have a role to play.
Mm,
Every other person, we can use every other end to ensure that this comes to actually,
mm,
this goal is achieved. I mean, you can use the media, which is being used everywhere today.
mm.
People use TikTok for crazy things.
Yeah.
You can use that to cause a change. You, as a youth listening right now, you can use your WhatsApp. 65% of the people use media right now,
Yeah.
and those are the youth. So you can really cause change by using your voice rightly and ensure that things that we want as youth actually come to an end.
Sure.
Mm.
So what's that one thing you want to tell all the youths outside there in the world listening to you?
Stand for the truth, man. If you're a youth, you're listening right now, stand for the
Hey,
truth.
stand for the truth.
Stand for the truth. Say out the truth. Go out there. Tell that elderly man with respect, sir, this is not right. Yeah, that is what we can do as youth. We cannot be sitting down and we think it is right.
Mm,
No, it's high time we woke up from our comfort zone. We cannot sleep right now as the youth. We can't. We can't. That is what I can tell the youth. So let's come out and we develop. And we can only develop by speaking because we do not have enough.
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, today we host Onduma Sabit, and as earlier on I stated, he is the current president of the Uganda Christian University Kampala campus. And so we talked about various issues. We discussed about the cases of youth involving into politics and coming back to their localities around. So thank you so much for joining us into the AYVC podcast, and we hope to bring you back again next
Thank
time.
you so much. We need youth like you.
Thank